Welcome to the Businessmen and Women of Color podcast. I am your host, Ann Alston, and it is once again my pleasure to bring quality programs to all of you. I am so excited to be here yet again for I don't know how many times because we have so many great speakers. Here again with another amazing speaker and person who has an organization that to me is meaningful, and I think that you're going to love to hear what she has to say because we all need to join into this cause. So please stay tuned and listen to this podcast as well as visit all the pages and listen to all the podcasts because these folks are amazing. They have really, really critical information you just do not want to miss. So please take advantage of this unique opportunity. Just in case you did not know, the purpose of the Businessmen and Women of Color podcast is to not only share our profession, but we're also encouraging working professionals and career seekers to enter their line of work. And this means promoting different type of industries and providing you information to make an informed career decision. We would also like to take a moment to thank our business partners and sponsors, our family of authors, Butler Armstead Consulting Solutions, Human Resource Learning Center, JNF Enterprises, and Women Offering Wealth, along with many of our other business partners and sponsors who's helping to make this event a success. So today we have on the podcast Chrissy Johnson. Chrissy Johnson is the president and founder of Finding Your Destiny, a nonprofit domestic violence shelter and prevention organization, and a Businessmen and Women of Color podcast business sponsor. She is an activist for mistreated and abused individuals. She is also a mother, military wife, domestic violence advocate, and suicide prevention activist. She also has a radio host show called The Destiny Show, which she has on her platform. Christy has an associate's degree in business administration. She also has 12 years of experience in nursing and human resources, and she is also finishing her degree in forensic psychology. That is very interesting field there. Her current goals are to serve all races and sex no matter of their orientation and social transparency. She is going to empower, transform, and rebuild the lives of women and teen girls through Finding Your Destiny Incorporated by using God's Word to teach about domestic violence and suicide. She is dedicated to having saved many lives as possible through her organization platform, and her experiences help bring benefits to those communities in her area. So I want to welcome to the podcast, Christy. Welcome, Christy.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Welcome, welcome. So tell me all about you. I read from your bio, which everybody I want to take time to read her bio, that you have a very interesting background which led you to opening up Finding Destiny. Can you talk a little bit about that if you're comfortable about your background, where you're from, and what inspired you to open up this organization?
Yes, well, I began as a nurse, as a labor and delivery nurse. I became injured working in the field, so I had to go out on disability. I went back to school for my business degree because I knew there was something more that I wanted to do. I always wanted to do something in the medical field. At first, I thought it was just going to be opening up like a medical facility to provide services for those affected by diabetes and high blood pressure, high cholesterol, in that type of field. But God had a much bigger calling for me. So in 2013, I lost my daughter Destiny to domestic violence. Her abuser hung her in her closet. And
Oh,
I knew at that point and that moment in my life that I had to do more. I had to become an advocate. I had to fight for those who are being abused and mistreated every day by domestic violence, by men and women who abuse them, who intimidate, who just does various types of abuses that, are unnecessary in relationships. And just to go about the data, every 9 seconds, there's a woman being beaten by her boyfriend or husband. And right now, the statistics are stating that more than 3 women per day are being murdered by domestic violence. As we can see that daily on the news and different communities and areas and states, that data needs to be updated. But we can only go by what's being reported by the justice system, by the coroner's office, by the state's filing office for filing for protective orders. So if we get the right type of people that can monitor and make sure that all the accurate information is being reported, then we are better to serve those who are being abused. And I just enjoy what I do. I take what I do very seriously. And after losing my daughter, it was a tough, tragic time. And I just knew that from what I was feeling, the broken heart I was feeling, watching my 9-year-old daughter see her sister hanging and going through the various types of emotions and feelings that I'm seeing my daughter feel and then express and speak about, I knew I had to do more. And this is what I do, and I love it.
Wow. Well, first of all, let me just say I am so sorry to hear about your daughter. I am sitting here like heart sunk to the floor because no child should be abused. And I know I say that very broadly, but that's just how I feel, that no one should be abused for any reason. I don't understand from my perspective why someone would want to abuse another person to the point that they're no longer here on earth. So I definitely feel for you. I have personal experiences for my own self of that. So I definitely relate to what you're saying. I want to use this platform as a way for you to really express to people the magnitude of physical, mental, verbal abuse that it has on our community, and what are some of the things that we really should be keeping our eye on to recognize, because a lot of people turn their back when they see that abuse is happening. And for me, there's a fine line between getting involved and getting hurt, but I'm pretty sure there's a way that we can help someone who is being abused or in an abusive situation, that we can help in a way that will either get them out of that situation or try to deal with the person that's doing the abusing. And so I would like for you to kind of help me talk about that a little bit if you can.
Yes, well, abuse, it takes various stages of abuse. Most young men grow up watching abuse or they've either experienced it themselves. Then, when they include substances such as alcohol and drugs, all that do is just make it worse. It fires up the anger, the abuse starts, and then it's something that they can't stop. It's uncontrollable, and it's very important for anyone that is either being abused or that's watching a person become abused to speak up. As we know that abuse damages a person's heart, it damages their self-worth, it damages the meaning of what life is to them. That's why we have so many individuals that are in these volatile relationships afraid to get out, afraid to speak. And for example, the reason why it is so hard for them to speak up is because they've been intimidated, they've been bullied, they've been physical, even sexually abused by their own partners. So it is one of those things as every 9 seconds, a woman is being abused, but as we know, men are being abused as well. They just don't speak on it as much as a woman. So I feel that if there's any person that's being abused, there are data, there are resources, there are people who care for you that can help you get out of these situations. And most of the times when they become so abusive and dangerous as of the deadly, that's because the abuser becomes so inferior and so intimidated that they know that they're losing you because either you've either spoke about that you're going to leave or you reported it. And so now it's one of those things as I'm not going to let you leave. And if you try to leave, I'm going to kill you. And a lot of jealousy comes in place. That's why they murder you because they don't want you to move on. They don't want you to want better. And most of the times when the abuser is abusing you, that's because they don't love themselves. How can they love someone else?
Wow. That's I'm almost speechless, Chrissy. I'm telling you. I mean, I get so worked up on this subject, and I think part of it is because of, like I said, my own experience, but then I'm also thinking about some of the people out there that may be listening to this podcast and they know that they're in that situation, but they don't know how to get out, as you said, because they're scared. They're really intimidated about the possibility of being killed by their partner in many
Yes.
ways. And I can even sit back and visualize and remember all of the different news stories that I've ever heard in my entire lifetime where a partner has killed another partner because they tried to leave. And
Hmm.
I think it would be helpful for someone who's listening to know what are the safest ways that they can actually leave someone and actually still be safe and not run into that person again, because some people don't have that option. Either they don't know, or maybe they're not in a neighborhood that have a safe haven. Maybe there's something we can provide on this website so that they can see where they can go. I don't know what the best recourse or the safest way for someone to leave their abuser.
Well, I do know that it's very hard for a victim to leave their abuser. I know it, I understand it, I've seen it, and I just want everyone to know that if you are abused, that you can seek shelter, that there are safe havens available, but you have to want it. You have to have in your mind, you have to have the mindset and the want and the need to know that my life is more important to me, that this is not what God put me on this earth for, this is not what I want my children to see, and this is not what I want to take me off this earth before it's my time. So there are. I want to say that there are some churches that do provide resources that will put you in a motel for a few days to give you a chance to be able to get into a program, a shelter that has some transitional housing available. There are counselors available that can give you the type of counseling you need to, to help rebuild your self-esteem, give you an idea of your self-worth. And also in my organization, we teach domestic violence classes, and the classes are so wonderful. They're so updated with some of the most valuable information. And I also have domestic violence survivors come on and speak to the women that are in my classes so that they can know, so that they can see that there is a way out and that you are supposed to live and live safely. And some more resources are the RAIN, INN.org. That is a national organization that also helps women who are being sexually abused in these domestic violence relationships, as well as those who are being put out for sex trafficking, and they also help with that. And there's the National Domestic Violence organization that that everyone can just Google and find them, and they can also direct you for in your state a variety of safe houses available. So there are resources. It's just that we have to make them available, and we have to educate the community on what domestic violence is. And so I just want to give a few red flags of a person who could be an abuser, and about relationships that can turn violent. Now, some examples of a abusive or volatile person is one who drinks a lot and one who does drugs, as well as one who doesn't have respect for himself, for you, or for his mother, as well as one who uses verbal abuse, one that bullies and intimidates and threatens you. These are the individuals who will turn on you instantly and who will become violent and push on you and shove you and even just sexually assault you instantly because of their own self gratification, because they want to intimidate you, they want you to be afraid, they want to harm you. And this is some of the things that young boys are now doing as well. At the high schools and the middle schools that I go in and speak and I do my presentations and classes at, there are 1 out of 4 girls in these middle school and high schools who have been in a intimate dating partner relationship that has turned violent and that has been sexually abused in these young dating relationships.
Wow. Okay. I don't even think a lot of people even realize that at all.
Yes. And with the new trend that's going on, domestic violence now is starting at a younger age, where we have 10, 11, and 12-year old now who are now that's just violence, that just want to harm girls, that would do anything to hurt someone. And so these are the type of signs that parents need to look at, because if you have a child that's 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 that is out here terrorizing the streets, robbing individuals, beating girls, raping girls, you got a problem right now. And it can grow into later on where they can become a murderer.
Wow. And so, in your professional experience, some of this stuff really could be prevented, just like you said, with the parents getting involved. But do you think that parents are also afraid of their children, which is why some of them don't intervene when they know their child is violent?
Yes, yes, that's some of the main reasons right
Okay.
there. Is
Okay.
because they are afraid of their own child, because they've seen the child react at home in a violent nature. Even the child has either pushed, cussed, or did something harmful to them. And so they know if they say something, if they do something, then they're going to be beaten or harmed and threatened. So, yes, and this is what a lot of parents are not doing things, to make sure that their child is not being violent at home. Because if you sit back and you're watching it at home, what do you think your child is going to end up becoming? So,
Wow. And I'm glad that you're putting it straight on the table like this, Chrissy, because one of the purposes of this particular podcast for everybody who I've spoken with so far is just laying it out on the table, because this is when we change our mindset. This is the time when you actually hear what people are saying and you look at it for face value. And if you know that your child is violent or using profanity or disrespecting their parents or grandparents, then that is a clear cut sign that things need to change. And we as a people, and not just minorities, but all people, we need to change our mindset to stop being violent to one another and seeing how we can fix this issue. I can't, I don't even think I can bear finding out that another child has taken their life or taken another life, because life is just too precious. And in this, I would say the last 20 years, there is no value for human life anymore. It just seems that way to me. I could be wrong, but it just seems like people have lost the value for human life. And or just knowing that it's a precious thing that is given only once in your lifetime, that you can never ever give back. And I don't know what the big fix to have that restored. I don't know what that could be, but at least through this platform and through your conversation with you, that we can begin a dialogue to bring people together, to maybe have a bigger conversation, have some bigger resolutions for this type of thing.
yes, most definitely. I believe that it's very, very, very important for a parent to never give up on their child. And I also think that it's very important for a parent to teach their child what love is and how to love. And if you have the right type of integrity as a parent, the right type of respect and empathy for each other, then you can teach your children how to have empathy, how to love, how to care, how to respect yourself and others. And that's one of the these are some of the core values for my organization as well, is that we treat everyone with integrity, empathy, and respect. It doesn't matter what your situation is, because we are to love you and to care for you and to show you that there is hope above all things. God says that I am here to give you hope and a future. And so if you don't understand that you have a future, then that means that you have lost hope. And as a Christian organization, we believe in the Word, we believe in God, and we teach Christian classes at my organization as well, because we don't want individuals to just lose the love, the hope, and the respect, and just the overall value of what they're worth. And I know you spoke on, you know, individuals not having the respect for life. Well, it looks that way, and it really does seem that way when you're dealing with these domestic violence individuals. But see, these are the individuals that are broken and damaged. These are the individuals who probably felt abandoned as a child, or those who grew up in these dangerous households who don't know any better, and and that's why I do the work I do. I work with anyone who wants to live better and do better and not abuse anyone.
I feel you. I feel you. So Christy, what other services do you provide in addition to your core mission? And then I want to have you talk about your involvement with the public schools in your area and your involvement with the Girl Scouts of Central Maryland.
Yes, well, we provide domestic violence classes, the suicide prevention program. We also provide educational services for any woman who is in need of getting her GED, who needs to learn financial management. We also do bereavement counseling as well as psychological and marriage counseling. So, Finding Your Destiny provides a variety of classes and resources and referrals for the community. We also provide various types of counseling, which includes the psychological and marriage, suicide prevention, domestic violence counseling, psychological evaluations. We have a bullying program to prevent bullying among teens. We also do dietitian and nutrition counseling. We have a life coaching service, educational services, and we are now incorporating child care services, which is a great, big, big yes for me. And we also work with local high schools and middle schools as well as some universities. I am currently at Coppin State University, where I work with the criminal justice students as well as the social work students. My organization has created a internship program where I come in and I teach these students about domestic violence, the red flags. I talk to them about crimes and consequences. I also talk to them about advocacy work, as well as understanding how to speak, how to get more information, how to listen very well, and understand that when you go to a crime scene or if you've been called to a house, how to go in with the correct type of integrity, empathy, and respect for that victim. I've also taught them that you never know, you might can be the only person that victim at the time can depend on to make sure that justice has been served. We also work with the middle schools and high schools where we teach about domestic violence as well, some red flags for teens, intimate partner dating with young teens, sexual violence among young teens, and rape as well for young teens as well. And we also work with suicide prevention. And we do just about everything that we can to make sure that life has been reserved. We don't want anyone losing their life either to domestic violence or suicide.
Right. That's fabulous. That is fabulous. And I am glad that you have taken a 360-degree approach to hitting them with all different areas of their life to make sure that you are covering all the bases, that there is no loophole in which they can fall in a crack. And we, as a parent, have to do better in making sure that we follow through to make sure that people who we know are in that situation are attending these classes, that they are really feeling and understanding the information that's being shared in your platform, and also to reach out to people to get that extra support if they feel that the person that they trust, as you says, they have to have some type of support system somewhere, if not with the organization, but within their family, somebody they can trust. And so I'm encouraging everybody who's listening to this podcast to please reach out and to find a resource for someone who is going through this situation. As you can hear from what Christy is saying, there is so many resources out here, including the National Suicide Prevention website, which I'm going to put on this page, that can offer you resources. So we should be seeing those signs, we should be stepping up, and we should be speaking up. Absolutely.
Yes, yes,
Yeah. So
yes.
so tell us about your activities with the Girl Scout of Central America. Is that along the same lines of what you're doing now, or are you doing something different with them?
Well, as a troop leader with the Girl Scouts, we do have areas where we can bring in a motivational speaker, or we could do some sort of activity where we can go out to different places and organizations so that the girls can earn badges. So what I do with my organization, we go out and we visit a domestic violence shelter, and the girls get to ask questions, and some of them have children with them. So some of the girls, for example, like my daughter who loves children, she would go and play with the children, talk to them, ask questions. But we try to be as active as possible because as a Girl Scout, it teaches you to be unified and to care for each other. And I believe that if we do that when we're out in the community, when we're out at different events as a Girl Scout, it also motivates us in our personal life and our personal experience. And that way we can learn how to develop those correct type of partnerships with friends. And if we have a friend that is experiencing something, some sort of trauma at home or being abused at home, then that child will come to that friend that they know and speak to that friend, and together they can come up with a great solution. And it's very important for everyone to understand that this is not just for adults to be able to come up with solutions, but if you have children, and children are really, really smart. They pick up on things really quick. They can understand things just about as fast as we can. And so if they feel that they can make a difference in someone's life, then that's a perfect example of what it means to be unified as a Girl Scout. Yes.
Yes, I used to be a Girl Scout and I loved it. I loved being a Girl Scout.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And I also was one. I have been a troop leader for many, many years. I started off with my oldest daughter, Destiny, and Destiny did it all the way up to high school, and she graduated. And now I'm doing it with my daughter, Christina. And so we just love it. We just love being a Girl Scout. We love doing events. I'm not too keen on the camping part, but
Yeah, you know what? I
but
was lucky enough to do camping either, but all the other activities that I've ever been in was really just as you described, just fostering our youth, our talents, and building friendships and just learning how to just deal with society, how thinking about how we're going to be when we grow up. All of those things was what I loved about being in this Girl Scouts. But my mom didn't like it too much because I sold over 300 boxes of Girl Scout cookies and we had to go and deliver all that. But I loved it. And you know what, Christy, to this day, every year when I see the Girl Scouts, I buy at least 40 boxes of cookies.
oh wow,
And
you
that's
sound
a
like me.
minimum. Yeah, that's a minimum. I will buy 40 or more boxes of cookies and then I will share it with my family or I will take it to work and share it with my coworkers because I believe in supporting the Girl Scouts because they did so much for me and I want to thank you for that as well. So Christy, let me ask you a question. This is a networking event. What do you need to help finding destiny thrive? What do you need from everybody listening and for people who are participating in this event?
Finding your destiny is seeking sponsorships and donors. Everything that we do for finding your destiny comes from my personal budget. So I'm funding the whole organization. I'm funding the outings. I'm funding the resources, the printing material, the curriculums that I create, all the data. Everything comes from me. And so at this point, I would love to have some great sponsors, some great donors, and individuals who's able to volunteer sometime, as well as some people who could give us donations such as food and clothing for teen girls, clothing for women. And now, since we're going to start doing the child care services, I know we're going to need like diapers and wipes. So just about anything that anyone can donate and give. We're also seeking a van so that we can now go and pick the women up and bring them to the location. So hey, just about any and everything. If you can
Okay.
donate, if you can give it away,
Hmm.
if you can sponsor us, or you can become a donor, please help us, because this is something that I do, and I do it with a lot of heart and a lot of love. I just love everybody that I help. And so if you guys would like to do any donations, you can also go to my website. It is www.finding, that's FindingYourdestiny.org, and that's findingyourdestiny.org. And you can just click on our donation button, and you can do it that way through our nonprofit account for our PayPal. And just remember, everyone, that anything that you donate to us, or if you become a sponsor and a donor, that you can get a tax deductible write off. My accountant she can provide that information to you. So you don't have to worry about just giving something and then you want to get it back or something like that. We are a nonprofit, so.
Fabulous. But Christy, first of all, I want to thank you again for coming on here and being very candid and open about your journey, about your daughter Destiny, and about the work that you do. I am so thankful that we met. I'm also especially thankful that you are a business sponsor, and you'll definitely see a return in sponsorship from me to you. And I just want to let you know that I'm also encouraging everybody to please go to her website, and our contact information will be on her page here to see what you can do to help with her cause and to prevent further instances of abuse in any form. So definitely also check out all the pages and listen to all the podcasts, because you never know, the information that you hear may be for you. So with that, I want to thank you, Christy, so much for being on the podcast, and definitely thank you for being a business sponsor.
Oh, you're very welcome. And I just want to give out a few more phone numbers that anyone can call who's in need. We have the National Domestic Violence number, and their hotline number is 1-800-799-7233. And then there's a Family Crisis Center hotline, and that number is 1-866-382-7474. And we also have a teen dating violence hotline as well. And that number is 1-866-331-9474. And again, you can reach me at www.findingyourdestiny.org. And if you guys are in need of a motivational speaker or someone to come in and teach some classes, please reach out. You will not regret it. It will be the best education that you can receive.